Good morning. Welcome. Hidden Horror is here for you on a Sunday morning. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing today? It's a beautiful, sunny day. I usually am in my temporary office, but my laptop was downstairs, so I'm in my breakfast nook. I think I've done maybe a couple of videos in here just to kind of like pick up um, if there was some type of internet issue or something like that. I typically don't use my breakfast nook because the internet connection is not that good. And I have the fastest speed. I have those amplifiers that's supposed to push the feed out, but sometimes I run into issues with my internet. So I apologize. But I'm down here. I'm in here today. Just wanted to come and say happy Sunday to you. This beautiful sunny day. The sun is like beaming through. So welcome everybody. Today I wanted to come because if you watch the trial or watch some of the clips, you may have heard a little bit of information about Jennifer Crumbley's attorney. Her name is Shannon Smith. And from watching most of the trial, her cross-examination, her direct examination of Jennifer Crumbley, and just watching the court proceedings, I have found some of the behavior, and I have a couple of instances that I do want to go over. I found it to be professional misconduct. So I want to talk about that, and I want to go over some examples, and I want to kind of tell you why I'm identifying this behavior and what can we do about it, right? What are some of the remedies that we can do about it? So I want to kind of go over to start what is available to the average person if they were to retain an attorney and they felt that their conduct was not professional. In the state of Michigan, they have an office called the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission. So if you feel that the attorney has acted with professional misconduct, you can actually file for an investigation. You can do that in writing, and they will take you seriously. They will look into the matter and they will do an investigation about the behavior. You have to document, provide evidence, examples of what you're alleging happened. So let's do that, right? Let's talk about it. This is what this video is about. It's about the behavior during the Jennifer Crumbley trial. So let's talk about it a little bit more. So I'm going to take some of the language from the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission website. I have added numerous links, and I have some news articles on the Hidden Horror Facebook page that you can refer to because you may not be able to research and find this on your own. But I want to share it with you. I know a lot of people kind of recognize that the behavior, some of the antics, the yelling, some of the responses, the interruptions, it was professional misconduct. So we're going to go over a lot of that. But let's take some of the language right from the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission's website, okay? So it says, anyone may file a request for investigation against an attorney licensed by the State Bar of Michigan or otherwise permitted by a court to practice in the state by completing and signing the AGC's, that's the Attorney Grievance Commission's request for investigation form, or by sending in a signed letter. So you can complete the form. I have made the form, it's the initial introduction letter, and then it's 2 pages. I have shared that on the Hidden Horror Facebook page, or if you like or prefer, you can write a letter. It has to be signed, okay? So if you're interested in doing that, if you want to do that or you want to find out more information, please either go to the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission website online, or you can go right to the Hidden Horror Facebook page. You're familiar with me, you know my page by now, and I have included the letter and the 2-page form for you, okay? Um, you can send that request to the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission, or the letter. It's 755 West Big Beaver Road, Suite 2100, Troy, Michigan 48084. I know you're not going to remember this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add this right on the bottom. So just give me 1 second, please. I'm going to just create something where you don't have to remember, okay? Because I know some people are not good at going online and finding information. And you may not have access to print the document. So I want to make sure you have this information. If you choose, you can write this letter and put it in the mail. I know there was some courtroom testimony, and this was addressed, and there was an actual apology for one statement. That was very concerning. I want to make sure I have it right before I share it. So just let me just check here. Okay, it's correct. I'm not going to scroll it. I just wanted to show right down there. Okay, so right here, everybody, if you had a concern from watching the trial, and if that concern made you feel that there was professional misconduct on part of either the prosecution attorneys or the defense attorneys. Now, this video right here, I'm only discussing what I feel rise to the level of some behaviors that would be considered professional misconduct. And this is involving the defense attorney, Jennifer Crumbley's attorney, Shannon Smith. However, you can write a letter about whatever you feel about whoever, whichever attorney on either side, okay? So I just want to make sure you have that, because if you don't have the ability to print the form, in fact, let me give you their phone number also. I apologize. I want to give you their phone number also. They can mail you a form. So let me give you their phone number. I just want you to have all of the information. Okay. And you can ask them to mail you the form if you don't have the ability to print, because I know printing is kind of it's kind of like an outdated let me change it again. I don't think I saved it. I was supposed to save the telephone number. Okay, I apologize. You guys, I'm learning, so please be patient with it, girl. I always want to share as much of the information as I can. Oh, I don't want it to scroll. No, not that one. I clicked on the wrong one. My apologies. Okay. So we're ready now. So it's the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission. That's their address in Troy, Michigan, and their telephone number, right? If you need a form mailed to you, you can request one. Just dial that number right there. You guys see it. 313-961-6585. Because I know everybody doesn't have a printer. Everybody doesn't have the ability to print, right? So I want you to be able to, if you want the form, you want to complete the form, you can ask them to mail you one. They will in turn mail you the form. You can complete the form, but you don't have to complete the form. You can have a written letter. So I'll give you an example of what you can include in a written letter. You can include the date. You can include your name, address, and phone number. You want to sign that letter, and then you can include any details about what you felt and refer to any documents. For example, during the trial, on this day, this was something that happened, maybe an outburst, maybe the interruptions. You may feel that was professional misconduct. You may feel that some of the statements that were made by either side, but this video is about the defense attorney, Shannon Smith. So you may feel that when she said that she would kill herself, you may feel that that was professional misconduct, or some of the other statements that she made. So I just want you to have this information, because I know in that gallery, those family members, the victims' family members, they were there. And if I had been one of those parents, let me tell you, I can hit on this table how angry I would be if I was sitting in that courtroom and my child was a victim and I'm watching this display, and you say in a manner that you're going to unalive yourself because you're going through paperwork, you're doing your job, I would be furious. I would be upset, and I would want to know, what can I do about this? See, we're not going to play games with, we're not going to play games. You don't get to disrespect, because those family members were sitting in that courtroom. Don't you know that they're going to want to know, how is this possible that a licensed attorney can come into the courtroom with this language, this behavior? So I'm going to tell you what you can do about it. I'm going to give you the tools, the information, and the resources, because it's not a game. This is not a joke. The victims and their families, they deserve more respect, more consideration, and there's more boundaries set than this. And it wasn't just one thing. I'm going to go over multiple things, because I feel that when you have behavior that's unchecked, that's allowed to go on, the person will continue to push those boundaries, the threshold. Even using the words KILL is insensitive, for victims unalived in a graphic, horrific manner. Shots close to the close contact to the body, to the head. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not funny. The behavior was disgusting. So, again, anyone that would like to address whatever concerns you have regarding any of the attorneys. However, again, this video is only going to talk about the behavior of attorney Shannon Smith. I'm going to call it very questionable behavior, crossing the line, disrespect, and what the Attorney Grievance Commission titles professional misconduct. I'm only going to talk about her behavior, because that was concerning to me enough to where I felt that I needed to address it. I talked a little bit about it in a few of my videos, but this video is specifically to address some of those behaviors. So let's get into it. That's the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission. Again, the forms, you can receive those forms by calling 313-961-6585, or you can download the form and print it and fill it out. But if you don't want to do either, you don't want to call or you don't want to download the form, you can write a letter. And again, include your name, sign the letter, date the letter, include your contact information, and possibly an email address if they want to connect with you. and detail whatever you feel constitutes professional misconduct. Okay, so we have that going to the side. I want to start discussing some of the behaviors. Right before I do that, though, I want to go over in the state of Michigan, the Michigan court rules. They describe how an attorney should conduct themselves. Okay, so I'm not going to go over all the court rules. I'm just going to go over very small portions. But again, on the Facebook Hidden Horror page, there is a link and you can read them more in depth. Okay, but I'm only going to go over two things. If you want to learn more about court rules, you can always refer to the Supreme Court or whatever state you're in, because this is only the courtrooms for Michigan. But every state will have their own court rules, and then you will have rules from the Supreme Court. So I'm just going to only talk about what's going to matter in this case, because this case was in the state of Michigan. Okay, so these are some of the rules. Okay, and this is Rule 9.103, Standards of Conduct for Attorneys. Okay. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to select certain pieces that apply to what this video is about. Okay. So A, general principles. The license to practice law in Michigan is, among other things, a continuing proclamation by the Supreme Court that the holder is fit to be entrusted with professional and judicial matters, and to aid in the administration of justice as an attorney and counselor and as an officer of the court. It is the duty of every attorney to conduct himself or herself at all times in conformity with standards imposed on members of the bar as a condition of the privilege to practice law. They're saying just because you pass the bar, this is still a privilege. You must conduct yourself with standards. You cannot just appear with certain behaviors. There are standards that you need to adhere to, because you don't have a right to practice law because you have a law degree and you pass that state bar. This is a privilege, and a privilege can be taken away. This is something that continually is reviewed. Okay. These standards include, but are not limited to, the rules of professional responsibility and the rules of judicial conduct that are adopted by the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to the second rule, because remember, I'm telling you, I'm not going to go through all the rules. I'm only highlighting two in this video. But again, if you would like to read more rules, you can also go to the Supreme Court's website, and they will also have these rules. You can, okay? But I'm only going to review two. And I'm not going to even read them all because it's very long. Rule 9.104, grounds for discipline in general. The following acts or omissions by an attorney, individually or in concert with another person, are misconduct and grounds for discipline, whether or not occurring in the course of an attorney-client relationship. Okay, let me slow down now. The following acts or omissions by an attorney, individually or in concert with another person. So the attorney can be acting by themselves. They don't have to be with someone else, okay? These are grounds for misconduct and for discipline. Now, I'm not going to talk about how they can be disciplined. If they were to receive investigation requests, there's a board that will review that request and make a determination. So I'm not going to say, what kind of disciplines they could receive, okay? The important thing is if you have a concern, if you felt there was professional misconduct, you can act on that. You can write a letter. You can complete the form. Okay. So let's go back here. So to go back. And this is whether or not inquiry in the course of an attorney-client relationship. So this attorney does not have to be your client. I mean, you don't have to be the attorney's client, okay? You can just be someone that has seen something. So that means you don't have a retainer. You don't have hired this attorney. This is just something that you could have seen, and now you're made aware that something you feel is professional misconduct and you want to report it. This does not have to be an attorney that you hired. So, for example, an attorney from the prosecution side, an attorney from the defense side, if you felt that there was professional misconduct, you didn't have to hire them and they be your attorney. This is something that you could have seen, and now you acknowledge, I feel that there was professional misconduct, and then you can list why and refer to the reasons why. You know, from the trial, from testimony, from cross-examination, from this question, from this statement, this is why I feel this way, okay? So I'll just give you a couple. Number one, conduct prejudicial to the proper administration of justice. So how was the conduct? Was the conduct prejudicial? Okay, so for example, at times during the trial, there was heated emotion on both sides, the prosecution and defense. There was a time when allegedly Shannon Smith was crying in the courtroom, visibly crying in the courtroom. And there was already a ruling that each side, meaning the prosecution and defense, would try to contain emotion because they didn't want to inflame the jury, for example. So do you feel that that conduct could have been prejudicial to the administration of justice, for example? Number two, conduct that exposes the legal profession or the courts to obloquy, contempt, censure, or reproach. Number three, conduct that is contrary to justice, ethics, honesty, or good morals. Now, number three is my stickler. I'll give you an example. If you're calling a witness an idiot, when you look at number three, is that contrary to justice, ethics, honesty, or good morals? When you call a witness an idiot, how do you feel about that? Another example could be, I had a list. I don't have a list in front of me. Another example could be, I might have to go get the list. I'm trying to remember what was the other examples. I apologize. Just give me a minute to get my thought. I actually listed them. 1 second. Let me see. I'm having like a brain freeze. Sometimes it helps me to see my other word. Okay. There was a point in the trial. There was a discussion about the emotion, the crying, which Shannon Smith denies that she was not crying. I'll say allegedly. And she turned around to the gallery. So she had her back briefly turned to the front of the courtroom. So they would be seeing, the judge would be seeing her back. And there was a moment where she actually appeared to be wiping her eyes like this. And then she went and flipped her middle finger up. And this is pointing towards the gallery. So the gallery would be any people that are seated. So this would be victim family members. This might be the press. This might be people just interested in watching the trial and the proceedings. I'm going to share that picture. Well, I've already shared it on the Facebook page. And I've also shared the video. I've watched the video from different angles multiple times. And it does appear that she took her middle finger and raised that to the gallery of the people that were seated. Do I know who was exactly seated? No, but generally that would be the news, the media, victims' families, and other interested parties. So that was another example of what I felt would fall under number 3, which would be conduct that is contrary to justice, ethics, honesty, or good morals. Now, you may have missed it. The news and the media didn't really report on it, but some very savvy, smart people online saw it. And when I slowed the actual proceeding down, I cut the video speed down about 75%, and I was able to capture the actual moment when that behavior was exhibited. So I've already shared the photos. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, so that's the photo. I'm sorry. I know the light is like messing with it. Okay, and then I took like the same photo and I did like a close-up. Okay. Do you see that? Do you see that behavior? Okay. So I'm always gonna just protect myself and say allegedly. It appears that both middle fingers are raised. Her physical position is she had turned around, so her back was facing the judge, and she was facing into the gallery of seated people when that behavior was exhibited. So that was again something else that I noticed, and this is some of the behaviors that led me to feel that this is rising to the level potentially where there's some professional misconduct. Okay, I'm going to just go and I think I will stop at number 4. This will be my last one for the examples. Number 4 reads conduct that violates the standards of rules of professional conduct adopted by the Supreme Court. So I'm ending with this because I feel that when you're in the courtroom, there is a decorum that the court really maintains, and they're required to help control the energy in the courtroom. It helps to keep everything's in a professional proceeding happening. And there was some heated words. There were outbursts. There were things that were said that were frankly shocking by specifically Attorney Shannon Smith. I'm going to go over those a little bit more in detail, but I feel that number 4 is covering of just the professional conduct. And this is both a standard for everybody in the courtroom, not just the attorneys. The attorneys are well aware. However, you may have witnesses that maybe aren't aware of all of the courtroom rules and procedures. You may have witnesses that have to kind of be reminded if something comes up to kind of maybe show correct some behavior. You could have people that are sitting in the gallery. You may admonish them, no talking, no noise, don't take any pictures, just so many things that you may have to kind of discuss courtroom behavior, courtroom procedures, how things are going to run in this courtroom. And number 1, you're always showing respect. That is the number 1. You can start there, showing respect. Okay. listening to the judge. When the judge is speaking, no interruptions. You don't interrupt someone while they're speaking. You don't talk over people. You don't have extreme outbursts. You don't act with extreme gestures. Anger and moving your hands and something that's going to cause a lot of attention. Things like that. So this is what I'm describing, and I'm going to demonstrate as ways where you have to act professionally during the proceedings. So let's talk a little bit more about it. Okay. So I've actually shared the video, only one video, but there's a few videos out there showing when allegedly Attorney Shannon Smith raised her middle fingers to the gallery of people seated. But I only shared one on the Hidden Horror Facebook page. But I want to discuss an article that was by, one second, cbsnews.com. So I'm going to show you the heated exchange between the prosecution and the defense, but I want to read the article first so I can set up the platform of how everything happened before it happened, okay? So this is dated January 29th, 2024. Again, it's by cbsnews.com. The article is on the Hidden Horror Facebook page, if you don't remember. It's titled, Jennifer Crumbley's Attorney Apologizes for Offensive Comments Made During Trial. So again, this video is only about Attorney Shannon Smith, okay? Again, right here, I have the information before you where you can contact the Michigan Attoeney Grievance Commission if you feel there was attorney professional misconduct. And this is another example that I'm giving you to demonstrate how I feel. There were several instances that Attorney Shannon Smith had during the Jennifer Crumbley trial where this is arising to professional misconduct. Okay. The trial of Jennifer Crumbley, the mother of the Oxford High School shooter, continues Monday with the third day of testimony, and it began with an apology. Jennifer Crumbley's attorney, Shannon Smith, began the day apologizing for statements she made during the trial on Friday. Your Honor, on Friday, I think it was very clear beyond reasonable doubt that I had difficulty and cannot use technology, Smith said. In my frustration, I made a comment that was offensive to victims' families, and I did it absolutely by accident as I was struggling with my computer. I am apologizing for that comment, Smith continued. I want to apologize to the jurors, to the audience, to all involved, and specifically to the victims and the families of the victims. I truly did not mean to say the comment I made. The apology referred to Smith's comments while discussing the Facebook message list between Jennifer and James Crumbley in 2021. The messages need to be redacted, and Smith claims she didn't have a copy, while the prosecution said they provided a digital copy on a thumb drive. Now, let me just pause right here. So during the trial, there were many instances where Attorney Shannon Smith felt she did not have certain evidence, she didn't have certain exhibits, and it had kind of become a point where the prosecution was looked to provide this information on the spot to Attorney Shannon Smith. They would go and make a copy, for example. They would have to share the information at that time. They would have to go over information, exhibits, evidence that was already provided to her before they could proceed. And when I say proceed, the prosecution may have been introducing a new piece of evidence, for example, or being prepared to call a witness, and the proceedings would have to stop because she would, and when I say she, attorney Shannon Smith would have an issue. She would not be aware. She would not be prepared. She did not have knowledge of certain information, and it was just breaking up the flow of the proceedings. Okay, now we'll continue. So I apologize for that. Just wanted to explain a little bit how this kind of led up to the heated exchange. But I'm going to play the heated exchange for you also. Okay. As this discussion occurred, the prosecution addressed inappropriate comments Smith had made in court that day when Oakland County Judge Cheryl Matthews asked Smith to fix a stack of tall papers before it fell over. Smith joked about how she shouldn't spend her weekend reorganizing paperwork, but instead drinking a glass of wine and then commenting about drinking 5 bottles of wine. Smith then needed to show a piece of evidence that the prosecution had, and as she was frustrated about not having her evidence organized, she said, in quotation marks, "I apologize if this is offensive. I'm not trying to say anything offensive. I am trying to demonstrate and share what was actually said. So this is not to be offensive, and I apologize in advance. If it is, it's just a quote that I want to share, okay? But I don't want to offend anybody, but I am trying to demonstrate where I felt this behavior of attorney Shannon Smith was arising to professional misconduct. In her words, she said, "I'm going to KILL," because I can't say the word, "I'm going to KILL myself." That is what she said. Now, again, we're in the setting, we're in the courtroom. This is during the trial. This is with the jury present, the judge present, the prosecution is present. All of the media, the news, victims, victim family members, she said, "I'm going to KILL myself." Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald asked Matthews if things like that would not be said in court out of respect for the victims. Smith responded by saying she was being respectful, and McDonald implied she wasn't, and that her comment about KILLIGing herself wasn't meant in a way to offend the families. You can say something, but you cannot say how someone else is going to feel, how it may make them feel, or how they should take a comment like this in this setting with the victims, with the victim families. Even if they're not physically there, they may be watching. They may be following the trial. And this is something that, to me, rises to the level of professional misconduct. These are her words, okay? So after the apology, Kyra Pennick, a 27-year-old who owns and runs a horse farm and was friends with Jennifer Crumbley, began her testimony. Jennifer Crumbley is facing involuntary manslaughter charges in connection to the Oxford High School shooting on November 30th, 2021, where her son killed, I apologize, KILLED, 4 students and injured 7 other people. Her son was sentenced to life in prison without parole in December. So we know they're referring to Ethan Crumbley, okay? So I wanted to read that article to flush out what happened before her actual statement, so attorney Shannon Smith's actual statement, and then what happened after, because this behavior, it continued on after this. I think that the judge overall have overlooked the behavior, and it did not stop. It did not get any better. So I just wanted to read that article to you because I want to show you now the exchange. Okay. So let me get the exchange up. And I also want to just say this about the judge. She, after the heated exchange, she pretty much did not really address the comment by attorney Shannon Smith. She kind of just said, everyone is, kind of, inflamed right now. Everyone, let's just all go home. Let's go home. Let's end this day. Let's stop. Everyone go home. But she didn't really address what attorney Shannon Smith said at that time. Now, maybe this is something that happened outside of the jury, outside of the courtroom. I'm not sure. But at the time that it happened, the judge did not address it. But let's go over what happened. This is going to be a short, brief video.
One thing I think is important, I'd ask this court to instruct counsel to show the appropriate decorum in this particular case. The jokes indicating I'm going to kill myself in the joking manner. I'm drinking 5 bottles of wine.
It's just there are parents who had their children murdered in this courtroom, and we are the people who communicate with them after we leave here.
I said something about wine because I was looking at her exhibit and it was teetering, and I was trying to nicely suggest that I would like you.
But making a joke about killing yourself in this courtroom at this time, I understand.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I did not mean it like
yelling
that. I did not mean it like that, and they know I didn't mean it like that.
Okay. We're responding to literally just sitting here, the amount of messages we get from victims in the community, and I just think just to be an abundance of respect and caution, if we could just not say things like that. I'm not accusing anyone of any malice or any bad intent. I'm just asking that we just not engage in that, because this is hard enough for the people who are sitting here now and who will be sitting here next week.
Your Honor, I am not joking around about anything.
Okay, I think it was a slip of tongue. It was a slip of tongue, right? Emotions are running high. We also, a lot of people are saying it's an issue.
But Your Honor, I do want to make a point. I'm not making an objection because my emotions are running high. In fact, I'm not having an emotional response here. I am simply asking that we be respectful to victims. That's it.
Your Honor, I am being respectful. So that is implying I'm being disrespectful. Me saying I'm going to kill myself, I didn't mean in any way to offend these families.
I know you didn't. It was a slip of the tongue.
It was absolutely not related to them.
I know.
This shooting is awful. It's the prosecution that's parading all of this up here and putting
The shooting is the result of the defendant's gross negligence. That is the case.
They are the ones putting the victims through re-seeing all of this over and over and over.
Whoa! Everybody needs to go home. Everybody needs to go home. All right?
I understand, but we're not putting victims through anything. And I'm sorry, but that just because everybody's disagreeing doesn't mean everyone is inappropriate. We are putting victims through everything. We're prosecuting our case. Okay. And we're trying to do it in the most efficient way possible.
She's defending her case. I think that was a slip of the tongue. Everybody needs to take a deep breath and go home. Everybody go home. I'm going home.
All right.
Okay. So I just wanted you guys to see that. Now, I do want to just say that what I'm realizing now is the picture that I have of the 2 fingers up, I believe it may have been the same day. Let me just check. No, it wasn't. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. She had on a different set of clothes. So that's just another exchange, inappropriate behavior, the outrage, the outburst, the comment alone. That was just something that I wanted you to see. I want to go to another instance where attorney Shannon Smith referred to Brian Malash as an idiot. Um, Again, I have the video on the Facebook Hidden Horror page. I'm going to go at the time of about 53 minutes into the video. Now, this whole exchange, well, not exchange, this whole commentary is from attorney Shannon Smith's closing arguments. And at about 53 minutes, she begins to talk about Brian Malash, and it goes to about 58 and 30 seconds. So it's about 5.5 minutes. I'm not going to play the 5.5 minute video. I will show just as much as I can to show the context of what attorney Shannon Smith was saying. And if you do not know, Brian Malash admits to a marital affair with Jennifer Crumbley. And he testified at trial. And attorney Shannon Smith is actually bringing him up and saying a few things about his testimony. One thing she said was that the testimony, no one believed what he said about the school shooter, which would be Ethan Crumbley, about his friend, and that his friend committed was dead first and committed suicide second, and that no one believed his testimony about the GUN being in the car. She made those statements, I guess, to diminish his testimony, and she outright called him an idiot. So let's listen to some of that. I may not play all of the 5 minutes, but I do want you to hear some of the context, not just her calling him an idiot, but the context around it. If you watch the trial, you could see at times there was some frustration, there was some commentary, particularly when attorney Shannon Smith said that the prosecution was pressuring witnesses similar to what she felt they did with Brian Malash. Okay, so I want you to hear that. So let me get that video and set that up for you.
Prosecutor finished, she said, "This is shocking, unthinkable." I believe there were other words used to testify. There's no question he was inconsistent. And I would submit to you that there was no reason law enforcement needed to interview him for 2 hours, 1 hour, and then 3 hours. But over time, the police certainly caught on to the fact that the more you ask Brian the same question over and over, and he realizes he's not giving the answer you like, he changes it. And while the prosecution tries to make it sound like, well, he didn't want his affair outed, from the very beginning, he told them he was having the affair with Mrs. Crumbley. That was not something that ever changed. It wasn't until the third interview when they started talking about his pension, talking about his job, that he felt pressure. He agreed with the word pressure, and he agreed with the word veiled threats, although he did take it back later, that the police wanted him to say something bad about Mrs. Crumbley. And I would submit to you that they probably did that to all of the witnesses in the case. But Brian Malash was the one who admitted to it. And when Mr. Keast got back up there and asked him more questions, Brian got right back in line like he was supposed to and told them exactly what he knew they wanted to hear. Brian is a terrible witness. He said he had memory problems. And quite frankly, when he's testifying that he knows that the gun was in the car that day of the shooting, we all know no one thinks that's true. Mrs. Crumbley testified and explained the day the gun was in the car. Brian's just wrong. And when Brian testified that Brady was gone and he believed Brady died or committed suicide,
I would submit to the jury that Brian is just an idiot and has no clue. And that the truth is, he didn't know the details about where the shooter's friend went. He just knew he went away. Wherever he got that suicide idea from, who knows? The prosecution didn't show any texts or anything to support that. But it's clear that Brian Maloche has been put on a mission, which is, you're coming into court, you've got some things hanging over your head, and we want you to take a position against Mrs. Crumbley. And I would
Okay, I don't want to use a lot of their video. I just wanted to demonstrate partly how she referred to Brian Maloche, who was a witness in the trial, just talking about his relationship with Jennifer Crumbley and the discussions that they had over the time that they were having the affair. She, meaning attorney Shannon Smith, referred to him as an idiot. And she discussed his testimony, that he may have been pressured by the prosecution, and that also other people may have been pressured as well. Again, it is just to demonstrate how I feel when you look at the behaviors of the conduct overall. Was the conduct professional? I think that there's ways that you can have your case, cross-examine people, and impeach them, but you do not have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be rude and callous. So I just wanted to go over those things. Let me make sure. I feel like I'm missing, because I don't have my notes. I feel like I'm missing some of my list. Trying to think back. Was there anything else that I wanted to go over? At this time, I can't recall any other instances. I hope I didn't forget anything. I know if you were watching, you saw the behaviors, you saw the raising the middle finger, you saw the tone, the way that she responded, just overall, what really made me feel I need to do this video was the comment about I'm going to KILL myself in front of those victims, their families, and the jury. Completely professional misconduct, in my opinion. I can't think of anything else right off the dome, so I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm hoping that I covered all of the things that I can recall. I had a written list, but I don't have it in front of me right now. If there's something that you thought of, let me make sure. I don't have any comments. Okay. If there are some instances that you saw in the interactions, in the cross-examination, and how things were handled. I know particularly just attorney Shannon Smith appeared to be disorganized. She appeared to be sometimes unprepared. And also she made statements that she did not review evidence. Now, I think that's problematic as a defense attorney when you're stating in court that you did not review the evidence. Even if you don't feel it's relevant, you already know that this is something that could possibly be introduced if it's shared with you by the prosecution, or if it's on an exhibit list. Telling the court that you didn't review the evidence, it makes it appear that you're not prepared, you're not organized, you're not ready to go, and you have not done the due diligence to come to the trial prepared to work and ready. That's how it appeared. I know there were several times when she expressed that she was the only one, that she was working hard, that she was doing everything she could, and she had to examine and review the evidence, and it was difficult for her, and I'm sure it was. I just feel that I think when certain statements are made, there could possibly be an appeal for ineffective counsel. And of course, we don't want that. Don't want this case appealed if there's a conviction. We want the families to be able to move on and not have this case fought for the next 15, 20 years, for example, if Jennifer Crumbley is convicted. As we already know, this case is going to the jury tomorrow, Monday, February the 5th. The jury will be able to start deliberations. I don't know if we're going to get a quick verdict. I know tomorrow I will be watching, as always. I want to see, what is the outcome of all of this work. It took over 2 years to bring the Crumbleys, Jennifer and James Crumbley, to start these trials. And the prosecution has put in a lot of work. They had a lot of evidence, a lot of exhibits. And they really tried to demonstrate gross negligence, and the idea that your child can be the mass shooter, but the parents are not going to be able to escape any type of criminal prosecution if it appears that gross negligence occurred. Simply put, you're not there for your child. You're not there, you're not present, you're not guiding them. In particular, in the Ethan Crumbley case, you purchased your son a GUN. You purchased it. It was a gift. You took him to the gun range. You gave him access to the GUN. Even the day before the shooting, if you were watching the testimony, Jennifer Crumbley said that they took his GUN away the night before the shooting, when there was the argument about just the classwork, not completing the work. She said she went on Power Schools and saw, his grades and everything, and she had the discussion with him. This is when her coworker alleged that the day of the shooting, Jennifer Crumbley told her that they locked him out, that she locked Ethan Crumbley out of the house. And she testified that they took his cell phone. However, the prosecution was able to prove that the night before the mass shooting at Oxford High School, that Ethan Crumbley was outside of the residence with his cell phone. So that contradicts, of course, Jennifer Crumbley's testimony that they took the cell phone. And then, of course, she went with the, I don't know if he got it back. Again, she appears to never know what is going on with her son. But, that Ethan Crumbley made a 19-minute video outside of the home at 10 p.m. the night before the mass shooting, where he actually said and talked about how he was going to shoot the school when he goes to school the next day. He did a 19-minute video talking about that. And I think I'll share that video. I wasn't at first, but I will share that video on the Hidden Horror Facebook page. The only thing I have is the court testimony with his voice, talking into the phone. So I will share that video if you're interested in hearing Ethan Crumbley, who was the shooter, his thoughts, and why he was going to do it. Again, his thoughts were very dark. It was from a negative place. He had a lot of feelings about the world, and how working was not going to get a person anywhere, and that it didn't make sense. So if you're interested in hearing the video, I will share it today on the Hidden Horror Facebook page, so you can look for that. Again, thank you for checking out this video. Remember, stay smart, stay safe, stay savvy. If you want to contact the Michigan Attorney Grievance Commission, remember, you can write a letter, you can call them and ask them to mail you the forms, or you can go online and download the form and complete it if you want to file an investigation into professional misconduct by an attorney. If you feel that has happened in this case, you can do something about it. This is available to you. You do not have to have had any of these attorneys as your attorney. Anyone can file this if they feel there was professional misconduct. You have to include your name, make sure you sign the letter, and include the details if you want them to contact you, your address, your email, and describe what you feel was professional misconduct by an attorney. Describe it, refer to the trial, the proceedings, the testimony, whatever you feel. This is your remedy. This is your recourse. This is how they keep good attorneys in, because practicing law, being an attorney in the state of Michigan, is a privilege. It is not a right. They want to make sure that the standards are high, that there are some morals there, some ethics there, and there's professional conduct. And when there is not, this is what you can do. The information is right here for you, okay? Hidden Horror, I have your back, okay? Take care. Enjoy this beautiful Sunday. It's so sunny outside. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy and listen. Watch for that verdict. That whole trial is getting turned over to the jury now. And the jury of the peers in that state, peers like you and me, they'll be able to make the decision and give a verdict. Guilty or not guilty? What do you think? How do you feel? Guilty or not guilty? Share your thoughts, okay? Take care. Be well, my friends. Bye, everybody. Bye.